Hello everyone, Nico here with my father, Pasquale, the Consigliori.
Hello, everybody.
And today we're going to be discussing the fundamentals. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, the fundamentals are the most critical aspect of your endeavor. Even if you're the best golfers, the best guitarists, the best painters, whenever they get into a rut or have any issues, they always say, go back to the fundamentals.
And that's how they always got there in the first place. To be at the very top, they got there by the fundamentals.
And if they want to rise to the next performance, so the people who aren't necessarily the best, rising to that next level, what do? Return to the fundamentals. Before we get started, don't forget to check out the Talent Broker program at talentbrokerprogram.com. It's a program designed specifically for executive recruiters who build up to $200,000 a year, where we take them, we walk them through both the fundamentals and the advanced tactics and strategies of building up to $400,000 a year. So, Papa, what are the fundamentals of recruiting and how'd you figure them out?
Well, it really is a very intense question. Whenever you're attempting to find the fundamentals for anything, that's a great challenge. And for me, it dates all the way back to 1993 when I got my first recruiting client, Jim Dykman, and I knew nothing about recruiting. Mm-hmm. Now, he and I were working very intensely on the f-stops, which was my core product and service that I provided. And on the basis of that, I got a growing number of clients throughout the calendar year of 1994. And so the search really does date back intensely to 1994. Then in 96, when I was creating the lock-on report, these same fundamentals are there, although they wouldn't have looked like this back then. Mm-hmm. The set that we'll be working on today actually has gelled because of our Talent Broker program, and it's on the foundation of all this work over these decades that I can tell you with some great strength and confidence and not a little pride, this is as strong a set of fundamentals to reflect the reality of recruiting as you're going to be able to find anywhere.
All right, you want to walk me through them?
Sure, absolutely. All right, so we start out with planning. So number one is plan your contacts or plan contacts. I'll just say a quick word about that and then we'll go on to the whole list. It is the number one because it is the single most important thing. You cannot succeed in any kind of recruiting practice without planning. And the key to your planning is who are you going to be speaking to? Why are you going to be calling this person? It's all there inside the plan. Mm-hmm. And that is the beginning. It is the most important of all fundamentals.
Okay.
So the second fundamental is then to go into action. You have to execute your plan. And what I've called that is connect. Number two, connect with managers and candidates. And while you write that, I'll talk a little bit more about that. By connect, sure, there is the reach out. There is the voicemail message if you have to leave one, and you often do. And you want that to be warm and inviting. And I teach that you don't really need to get a call back. It's wonderful if you do, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is more to initiate an actual connection, which is what is the true fundamental here. And it should be absolutely equal for you, managers, hiring managers, and candidates. In fact, we flip them one to the other back and forth anyway. And so connecting with managers and candidates is where the art begins to take its action mode, if you will. All right, so when you're doing that, the number three is find openings. And, it depends on whether or not you're marketing an MPC. We won't get into any of the details of that. You might be pushing talent and introducing them to managers much earlier. So the fundamentals can be moved around by way of various strategies, as I think you could easily imagine. But for the standard recruiting model that we find out there pretty much universally throughout the industry right now, once you've connected with managers and candidates, the ability to find openings is where this begins to turn from a warm conversation into an active business. Mm-hmm. All right, so assuming that we found some openings, that gives us tremendous tactical power for number four, which is find qualified talent. And if you think about that, how can talent be qualified unless you have some idea of what the openings are that you're going to be searching on or that you have already commenced as an active true search assignment? And so here, this is actually what we end up selling more than anything else. All of these first three are fundamental to our practice. But when we're pitching our service to have somebody sign on with us, it's our ability to find qualified talent that is really the punchy, powerful thing, the tremendous value. And we really do need, at a fundamental level, to be able to find more qualified talent in a rapid manner, in a more effective and profitable manner for our clients than they can find on their own.
Got it. Okay, so number 1, plan contacts. 2, connect with managers and candidates, those contacts. At that point, in speaking with managers, you're finding openings.
Not just managers, though. Candidates often know exactly where the best openings are, even when they're not going to be qualified for what you're working on. Candidates are a tremendous source of knowledge. And so the connecting, managers and candidates, both of them target you toward the best openings.
So that makes sense. I think a common misconception, and obviously I just exhibited it, was that when you're looking for openings, you're only talking to managers, but no.
Absolutely not. And in fact, really the art of the flip is that a manager can be your very best candidate depending on what level they're managing at and what kinds of openings you're searching on. Okay. And so the ability to have 2 objectives for each call, to drive toward a candidate to send in on a job order or an opening, or a manager to speak to and make, well, we're skipping ahead to number 5 here, but to make introductions and to get send-outs. So job orders and send-outs are actually 2 objectives for each and every call, and you may get one or the other or even both.
Okay. You ready to move on to 5?
Yes. I love number 5. I call 5 complete introductions. And I like the word complete for 2 different ways. You want to complete as many introductions as are necessary to fill any search. Beyond that, completing introductions is really kind of like what we actually do. And so we are the people that mount up. You know, if there was a belt, it would have to be like a belt to go around the world for all the notches of all the introductions that we have completed. But if you bring it all the way down to just a single search, you need to complete the sufficient number of introductions so that within that set of people that have been introduced to your hiring manager, you've got one, the sufficient number so that one of them is going to be the one that gets the job offer and gets hired. But I also like the word complete in a descriptive manner. When you make an introduction, you want to do it completely. You don't want to just, this is the thing I hate the most. When people just send out emails, and worst, with a resume, they haven't even described the individual. They send out these, and I know there are recruiters who do that tactically, do it well, and make money doing it. The old school in me opposes that utterly. I want a complete introduction.
Okay.
And so once we've got that completed set of introductions, and we found, also in the word complete, there's a little bit of one of my older terms, chemistry. I love the chemical bond connecting the hiring manager with the talent, with the qualified talent that will end up being the one that gets the actual job. And so in our next skill, number 6, we nurture negotiations. And I think it's really important that you understand when you are completing the introduction, that is the moment that the introduction is completed and that the hiring manager and the candidate have agreed to meet each other, that is actually the moment that the negotiation commences. People think that there's all this, we have to do the dance, we have to, find out if we're qualified or even interested, but all of that is a negotiation. And it really is all nurtured along. I don't want a recruiter to think of their fundamental skill set as being something pushy, like we're going to have, we don't force a negotiation. We don't force fit. And we always want in our negotiations there to be plenty of room. I call that slack. So that we're not disappointing expectations and we're drawing people together. So this nurturing of the negotiations follows immediately from the completing of the introductions. And of course, it leads to number 7, which is drive decisions. Decisions really end up being the ultimate holy grail, not only at the fundamental skill level, but at the very the very purpose of what we do. We help people make better decisions than they ever possibly could on their own. You know, all companies have some form of internal recruiting ability, whether they have internal recruiters or not. The managers are good recruiters in their own right or not. All companies have to be able to recruit with or without a third-party recruiter. But they don't make the best decisions. The best decisions come from a process, a proper process where we've gone through all of this. We obviously have a panoramic view of the market, of the competitive space within which these people are coming. We learn who the companies are, who the managers are, what the kind of talent that really is qualified for these introductions. We support a different kind of negotiation than they could ever perform on their own. And we lead to, and absolutely do drive, meaning we are salespeople. We do help people get to the point of decision that they would never get to on their own. We drive the best hiring decisions that are possible. And that's the actual basis for our, 40 or 50 years that our industry has continued to grow, because as you said on the previous page, of the actual value that we provide. That value that you noted right up here in these qualified talents leads on number 7 to the very best possible hiring decisions that we drive, because that's the work that we do, and we do it better than could be done in any other way.
So plan contacts, connect with managers and candidates, find openings from those managers and candidates. The value that we provide being qualified talent, and number 4, completing introductions between hiring managers and candidates, nurturing a negotiation rather than trying to muscle it, and driving decisions.
Absolutely. And I want to say one more thing of encouragement to you. When you look at this list of 7, it may be a bit daunting or overwhelming at first. Don't think of it that way. Why? Because you can break it down into each one of the 7 skills that we've listed here and work intensely with all you are on just that one. It will lead you to the next one. So there's a flow here. And the truth is that, as you were saying earlier, that all the greats, whenever they're in any kind of rut or difficulty or the market has shifted on them, they have to return to all 7 of these skills. And so for me, when I see this list, and like I said, I've been searching for it for these decades, I get so excited and enthusiastic, because I know that from a rookie to the greatest performers in our industry, they can all come to this, work on whatever part, starting at the top and going all the way straight through, or any part where they've realized there's a weakness and improving it. This should be deeply encouraging to any and every recruiter. And I got to say it again, I just can't be more excited about having it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for listening and watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you're in a rut or looking to rise to your next level, it's probably somewhere in here. We can help you find it.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't already, please do check out the Talent Broker program at talentbrokerprogram.com. We'll see you next time.